goes on.
Let's listen to Pavarotti.
Only one.
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti. I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. Now, in this video, I'm going to move forward with some of that information that I brought to you yesterday. And it's about the lack of discovery in the case as it in regard to the failure of the prosecution to provide the protocols and procedures for all of the lab personnel as it relates to the DNA in the case. 2 years after the fact, we learned that they have not provided the protocols and procedure as it relates to the DNA in the case. These are the protocols and procedures for collection of the DNA, protocols and procedures for chain of custody, all of the things that has to be documented in a proper way. I mean, this is their guidelines on everything that has to be done as it relates to the DNA. How they get it back to the lab. How somebody signs off and gives it to somebody else. How they remove the DNA from the object, or how they're supposed to. You know, how they create the STR profile. How the procedure's supposed to go when they transfer that DNA to another lab, such as Othram. What's supposed to take place when they do transfer it to Othram? What rules do Othram have to follow as far as the procedures? And then when Othram gives it to the FBI, there's more procedures to follow. They haven't given the protocols and procedures to the defense 2 years later. This should be something that's written in stone at the Idaho State Lab. They should be able to just hand that over. 2 years after the fact, they haven't. That tells us everything we need to know, and I'm going to explain it further in this video, why it tells us everything we need to know. And I'm mad about it, because when I seen that in those court docs, I mean, you could tell I was a little bit upset, but I knew that right there was the key. That's what I was looking for. And by the way, as I've gone through this investigation into this case, y'all know me, I've literally been through every single court doc in the almost thousands of court docs in this case. And I've tore apart every single word of them. So most of the investigation that I've done into this case is from the actual court record. And there are certain things in this court record that tell me certain things about the case. And that's what I use to investigate and put together the probabilities. Nothing I have seen in the court docs, though, tell me anything about Jack D or the frat boys being involved in this case. So let me just say this. I have been working on this thing for a long time now. I mean, I've been working hard on this thing for a long time now. And we're going to get Bryan Kohberger exonerated in this case. When I say we, I mean all of us. But I'll be danged if I get Bryan Kohberger exonerated, or not me personally, but if I assist in getting Bryan Kohberger exonerated, and then I got to turn right back around and start over and do the same dang thing for poor Jack D or a couple of frat boys. Because that's if when we get Bryan Kohberger exonerated, they go out and they arrest Jack D and the frat boys, I'm right back to square one, trying to get innocent people off. So, when I hear these frat boy theories coming back up, well, I have to step back and I have to take a little bit of a look. Say, okay, wait a minute. Is there any validity to this stuff? Because it seems that the frat boy theories, they all generate from one source. It's one source. And it's all based on one thing. A fight at the Sigma Chi frat house. A fight with Ethan at the Sigma Chi frat house. Man, Ethan and Xana were back to King Road residence ordering pizza. Okay, so we're going to do some fact checking on that crap right now, okay? Because I've gone back through all of the history of this case, and I know we don't want to believe anything that law enforcement says, but you got to believe some of the things, all right? Like, for example, when they put in the PCA that BF seen Ethan and Xana at the frat house from 9 p.m. to 11:45, even though the frats did not they did a blackout. They wouldn't talk to the media. Well, they did talk to law enforcement. All right, you can say the frats lawyered up all you want. Law enforcement went in there and they confirmed everything that happened at the frat house, I assure you. And everything that happened at the frat house tells you that Ethan and Xana were at the frat house. Now, where does all this information come from about the pizza? Does it come from Xana's dad, like everybody keeps stating? And that is a big no. Xana's dad never said that he talked to Ethan and Xana at the King Road house eating pizza at midnight. He never said that. He said he did go and change their locks. Seen him say that a week prior. But who said that Xana's dad was worried about a fight and was talking to him while they're eating pizza, but he was too drunk to go over there and do it? Who said it? Xana's mom, Kara. That's who said it. Now, I seen a comment by somebody, it was an amazing comment. And their comment was, now, Kara, who supposedly had no contact with Xana due to her issues, I'm sure rarely talked to Xana's dad. What is she doing talking to Xana's dad the night of the atrocity? Where did she come from? Wasn't she on the run from law enforcement and others at this time? But magically, she's going to know what Xana's dad was doing, and we're going to take her word for it, and we're going to run off into left field with that crap? Give me a break. You're going to have to fact check yourself on that stuff. The whole pizza thing, that all came from Kara Kernodle. So we're going to base all this on that source? Yeah. Okay. And then there is the fight at the frat house. The fight at the frat house. Keep hearing this everywhere. Was there a fight at the frat house? Where'd that come from? Was that in the news? Because everybody wants to use this information that's, we don't want to speculate, we want to make sure everything we say is accurate. Well, where's the fight at the frat house coming from? Does that come from the students? Did they go out and put that on public record? Or is that some made up crap that somebody wrote on a 4chan post that everybody's taking and running with? Well, you know what? It seems to be the new thing to debunk theories and fact check things is this thing called Snopes, because they must be accurate, and a lot of people are using Snopes to fact check stuff. So let's use Snopes and see what it says about this farcical fight at the frat house with Ethan. What do you say, Snopes? Let's look. The Snopes archives provided do not contain any information about Ethan Chapin in a fight at the Sigma fraternity frat house leading to the Moscow, Idaho murders. Oh, so Snopes says there's nothing. Well, Snopes says no. So I don't know. Next time you see a clickbaiter trying to stir up some clicks and views and get you stirred up, maybe you should ask them to produce some receipts for some very valuable evidence that they're pointing to in their thoughts. And then maybe it'll keep more people focused on facts in the case, so that we don't have to go back after this thing's done and do it all over again for other people, just because I have no idea. I mean, yeah, let's go blame some innocent frat boys for an atrocity. Now, let's talk about this, because this is my favorite subject, real quick, and then we'll get into the real stuff in this case. I hear this all the time. Well, a cartel wouldn't go in and leave witnesses in an atrocity like that. Oh, really? Well, let me ask you this. Who would go in and unalive 4 people in a house and leave witnesses? Because somebody did, didn't they? I contend a serial unaliver wouldn't. No, I believe that they would eliminate all the witnesses in the house. And then again, why would an ex-boyfriend like a Jack D who's mad at his ex-girlfriend go in and unalive her? I guess he would have to unalive Kaylee because she's in the room. But why the heck go down and unalive Ethan and Xana? I mean, it doesn't seem like that was necessary. And then if he did, why'd he stop there? Why would he leave 2 witnesses? That don't make any sense, does it? I mean, you would think, especially a college kid, with a future that's going to go in and unalive 4 people. I mean, leaving a couple of witnesses, that would be, that wouldn't be smart, would it? I don't think he would do that. Surely he'd be smart enough not to leave witnesses. So, I can use that methodology of thinking for anything. Why would the frat boys who are mad at Ethan and Xana go in and unalive Ethan and Xana and then go upstairs and unalive Kaylee and Maddie? And then leave 2 witnesses. Well, dang, that don't make any sense. I mean, if they're out of their minds on steroids, shoot, you'd think they'd go in and just annihilate the whole house, because if they're out of their mind on steroids, hell, they're not thinking that good, are they? But apparently they were thinking well enough to strategically go to 2 different rooms, unalive everybody, and then decide, well, you know what, we like Dylan and Bethany. We'll just leave and let them, turn us in later. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Oh, but the cartels, and they don't use knives. They use guns. Yeah, what are you talking about, the cartels here, folks? Okay, we're talking about strategic white supremacist prison gangs. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And what do they use? They use knives. And you know why they don't use guns? Because if they go in at 4 a.m. in the morning with guns, well, guess what? They're going to stir up a lot of trouble for themselves trying to get out of that little town. They're going to make noise. They're going to have 911 calls actually be made by using guns. And here's the other thing. Most of these guys are felons. You think they're going to drive to the property with guns? All they got to do is get pulled over and they're done. No, they're going to drive there with knives because that's how they do it. And then they're going to go in and they're going to unalive the people they're supposed to unalive, and then they're going to leave because that's their mission. They're not there to unalive everybody. And they got a mask over their face. They don't really care about leaving witnesses because there's nothing for them to witness. They're getting in their rides and they're heading 4 states over. They're not worried about that. And besides, one of the witnesses, her boyfriend's dad, is one of them. So she's complicit, more than likely, in my humble opinion. So they're not going to eliminate her when she's part of the group. And she's the one responsible for not making the 911 call for 8 hours so that they can get a couple of states over. Give me a break. The common sense that's not used in this thing sometimes is very, it's very striking to me. But let's put all that to the side now, and let's get back to what I was really wanting to talk about. And that is the fact that the DNA chain of custody, all the procedures, all of the protocols that are written in stone that the defense, once they get these things, they can go through and check. That's the whole point of it. Give me your protocols and procedures. Then they can take the protocols and procedures and they can go through the discovery, the chain of custody, everything about the DNA, check the protocols and procedures, and look and see if they were followed. And if anywhere in the discovery on the DNA that they did not follow the protocols and procedures, right there, that evidence is gone. Because if they don't follow the protocols and procedures, the reason they're there is to keep things like contamination, people swapping DNA or manipulating DNA. It's to keep all that from happening. And if they don't follow the protocols and procedures, well, then there's no way to prove that that didn't happen. That's why it's so important in a court case. And if they don't have the protocols and procedures to compare what they did to it, well, then they're at a loss. And we are, today's the 14th. We're 9 days away from the most critical hearing in this case as it relates to discovery and suppression. And they don't have the protocols and procedures. If they had protocols and procedures, then they could get the DNA thrown out based on they didn't follow protocols and procedures. But they can't because they don't have the protocols and procedures. This is a travesty. That's why they put that in that footnote, because they want you to know, look, here's what we don't have in our discovery. And this is something we should have had from day one. Protocols and procedures. Anyway, I got to go take care of my daughter's flat tire. All this snow made her tire go flat, and Daddy got to take care of it. So please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. I'll be back to you later on this evening. There is some really, really big docs that are about to hit. Hopefully they'll hit by this evening because it was in the court summary, and I can't wait to tear those apart. But please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. Till next time, Pavarotti's out.
I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules.